Hey, this is Donovan Pannone, coach of Level Up Wrestling. We're here to provide you new parents with the basic rules, how a match would work, just to alleviate some of the confusion so you don't feel lost when you're watching a wrestling match. Okay, so the match will run in the big circle. That's the out of bounds. If you go out of bounds, you start back to center. And there are going to be 3 periods. Depending on the age of your wrestler and where you live, it might be 1-minute periods, 2-minute periods, or it might be 2-1-1, something like that. But there's going to be 3 periods. So the goal is to score more points than the other person within that time to win by technical fall, which would be 15 points or more, or to pin them, to pin their shoulders, both shoulders down on the mat. That ends the match no matter what the score is. So how you would score points, first thing would be a takedown. You'd start here, nice and low. Here's an example of a takedown. This is a double leg takedown, and I finish on top, behind his hips, behind the arms. This is a takedown. If I'm off to the side here, that's not considered a takedown. I've got to get all the way behind. I could also take him down directly to his back. So for example, if we went here and I brought him to his back beyond a reaction time, that would be considered a takedown. That's worth 2 points. Okay. An escape, however, is worth, we start on bottom after I got a takedown and he gets up to his feet, turns, cuts, and faces me, that's 1 point for an escape. Okay, if we were down on bottom and he goes from the bottom position to the top position, okay, right here, he went from bottom to top, that's considered reversal, that's worth 2 points. Okay, the other main way you score points is with back points. When you're trying to pin somebody, their back, once it goes past 45 degrees, the ref will start counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If he gets to 5 seconds, that's 3 back points. If it's 2 seconds, that's 2 back points. Okay, so this could be any move that I'm trying to pin him with. If I hold him there, I get extra points. Okay, the other one would be stalling. We want action in wrestling. So if you're avoiding wrestling, like if I was backing up and not doing anything, they would warn me for stalling first. The second time would be worth a point. Okay, so how a match might flow, you would start by going to the head table. You would get green and red ankle bands to signify which wrestler you are so the ref can talk to the table about who scored the points. And then you would put your foot on the line. He'd put his foot on his line here, get in a stance. You always shake hands. We would wrestle from here. After the first period, if there was no pin or technical fall, then the ref would flip the coin to decide red or green's choice. You would choose either top, bottom, neutral, or you would defer to the other person. That means they choose now and that I can choose in the third period. So he might set up and maybe he chooses bottom. I start here, knee to the side, foot behind, hand on the elbow, the other hand on the belly button, and then we would start wrestling from there. Third period would be similar unless we chose neutral, and then we'd start back on our feet. At the end of that, if it's still tied, you go to overtime. The first overtime is a 1 minute sudden victory. First point scores wins. If it's still tied after that, you do 2 30-second periods where you're on top and bottom. You wrestle the whole time. If it's still tied, you do ultimate tiebreaker, which is a 30-second period. The first person who scores chooses. They can choose bottom if they think they can get out. If they can get an escape or a reversal, they win. If the top person rides them out, then they win the match. Okay, there are some other moves that are illegal in wrestling. Obviously, you can't punch, you can't kick, you can't pull their, fish hook their mouth or anything like that. Can't poke them in the eye. Okay, but there are some moves in wrestling that occur that are illegal where the other person's going to get a point. If I lock hands on top, so if I lock here and he's on the mat, even if I'm barely touching my fingers, that's considered locking hands. He'll get a point. Okay, I also can't do a full Nelson. So this would be a half Nelson where I'm trying to put him on his back, but I can't go here. That is a full Nelson. Even if my hands are here, barely touching his head, that's illegal. I also cannot do a chicken wing where my arm goes past 90 degrees, or a hammerlock where I take it off the back, or it goes up past 90 degrees. That puts too much pressure on the joint. That would be an illegal move. And the last very common one with youth wrestling is an illegal headlock. If he reaches back and locks his hands without my arm in it, that is considered an illegal headlock. If my arm was in it, that is legal and that's fine. But all the other legal moves are 1 point for the other person. All right, I hope you found that rules video helpful. Sometimes matches are fairly easy to understand, but a lot of times they're very confusing kids are rolling around all over the place and it's hard to keep up. So I've created a crash course for new parents. It'll not only help you understand the rules better, but it'll help you understand how to support your wrestler on this new journey that they're taking on, how to deal with wins and losses, how to understand the process of success, and how to help you maximize their potential. You can find the courses at parents.levelupwrestling.com, and the link is in the description. Thanks.